up? Welcome back. Walking and Talking episode 45. Today we're here in Wolf's Pond Park, kind of where it all started. This is where episode 1 and 2 were filmed. Episode 1 was filmed here and episode 0 was filmed here, but 0 is gone the way of the dinosaurs. You'll get that joke in a second. So today I wanted to talk about Godzilla King of the Monsters. Wanted to talk about it yesterday, but yesterday I wanted to revive my Gear Monday, so we're talking about it today. I saw it over the weekend with my wife and a couple of friends in Manhattan at the Lincoln Center Theater, and it was exactly what I wanted. So like previous movie reviews on this channel, I want to start by talking about what I liked and didn't like in a very spoiler-free way. And then I'm going to move into more detailed talk about what I liked and didn't like about very specific things with a little bit less restraint on spoilers. And obviously I will let you know before I get into that section of the review, so anybody who wants to avoid spoilers can, because I respect your decisions and life choices. So without further ado, let's get into it about what I liked and didn't like about the brand new 2019 Godzilla King of the Monsters. So let's start off with kind of establishing where this movie takes place. It takes place after 2014 Godzilla and centers around two characters, one that was heavily featured in 2014's Godzilla, and the rest are his family and some side characters. Obviously there are some very specific cameos by other notable people from the previous movie, but just like with the first one, this movie really centers around monsters fighting other monsters. And that is exactly, sorry, I'm crossing a stream with a lot of rocks. There we go. And that's exactly what this movie gives, which is perfect. So I'm gonna say this up front, just like with any monster movie, go into this movie expecting kind of a story that's there just to connect the different monster fights. There's not going to be any in-depth narrative in these kind of movies, so don't expect it. The story in this, completely passable, very believable. The motivations are all good, and it's not hard to suspend disbelief with the stuff that's going on. That said, this story is very surface level. It is very thin and basic. It's all it needs to be. Second, is not really a critique of the movie, but I think this movie plays best in large format screens. So if you have the option, and I highly do recommend people go see it because it's awesome, it's big, it's fun summer popcorn, perfect way to spend an afternoon, especially if it's rainy outside. The best way to see this movie, IMAX, which is why we went to Lincoln Center. It's where they have the only true IMAX screen, which is the big 4x3 78 foot by 104 feet, I think, screen with the sound system that matches those big visual images. And also in the one in Lincoln Center, because it's where they premiere a lot of movies here in New York City, they also have the nicest of nice Christie laser projectors. They have a pair of them. So the dynamic range, the contrast ratio, the colors, they're all spot on, perfect, and vibrant. And for this movie, having big, vibrant colors and a huge amount of detail, because a lot of this movie is dark, not dark thematically, but dark physically, because a lot of it takes place at night or with a heavy, heavy cloud cover or smoke cover, the visuals matter. And this movie is a visual showcase in every sense of that word. The monsters are super cool. King Ghidorah, super cool. Mothra, gorgeous. When it unveils its wings, it is visually arresting in a big theater, something you don't really expect from a monster movie, because usually those big visuals are saved for terror and intensity. This movie has beauty, a lot of it, surprisingly. Even some of the scarier scenes are actually really beautifully done. The cinematography for a monster movie, big thumbs up. With that said, that's kind of all, because again, this is a monster movie, it's relatively thin. Most of what it trades on are big visuals and cool monsters fighting cool monsters. And that is exactly what we get here from Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's exactly what I expected, got exactly what I wanted, and I loved it. So, highly recommend, if you go see it in a big theater. Bigger the format, the better. Dolby Cinema, huge thumbs up. IMAX, even bigger thumbs up. With that said, I want to get into more specifics now. So for all those who don't want spoilers, thank you for joining me. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Peace. For all those who want more in-depth or have seen the movie already, let's get into it deep. Spoilers ahead. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Let's start off with what I didn't like about Godzilla, the King of the Monsters. And that is, I felt like this movie lacked a lot of the restraint that the previous Godzilla had. While the cinematography was beautiful, camera angles amazing, visual effects incredible, I felt like they reused some shots. There's a shot with King Ghidorah and Godzilla running at each other that I felt like was both in the fight in South America as well as the fight in Boston. And I felt that a couple of times where I thought they could have just trimmed out a few things or maybe created a new shot. But I don't feel like they had the same restraint that they did with the previous iteration of this movie. Not really a concern because I was there to watch giant monsters fight giant monsters and they delivered on that in spades. But the other thing that kind of bugged me a little bit was the very end when all the monsters coalesced with each other in Boston. How did that big hairy elephant get to Massachusetts? I swear it was in another part of the world. I know underwater vortexes and tunnels and all that, but how the heck did that giant hairy elephant swim that far? Just a weird little thing. But overall, I thought Ice Cube's character was, or Ice Cube's son's character was an incredible like avatar for the audience. His lines were on point. Thought all the characters did really well. The scene when they reveal Godzilla and his whole back is all lit up in the underwater facility with the doors opening up and all that, that was one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie. Visually arresting would be a overall theme in this movie, and you don't usually associate beauty with monster movies, so big thumbs up there. In addition to the characters, I loved a couple of the action scenes specifically. I loved the scene where they were basically bringing the chopper back into the bottom of their like control ship. I thought that was super intense and great, and where they basically crash through the bottom of it and he drops the other Osprey out through the bottom. Just everything about that scene was super cool. I also loved when they in Fenway Park, when they were using the chirp to bring the monsters there, and the way King Ghidorah just shows up, and the girl who plays Eleven in Stranger Things, just that whole scene was amazing and excellent. And I did like that the mother sacrificed herself to give them more time to get away. King Ghidorah is absolutely, I think, the shining star next to Godzilla, because he was just menacing. His movement was so good. His ability to fly was cool. Him dragging Godzilla up in that kind of almost referential shot to the first movie where they do that in-mask dive, and they have that very George Romero-esque shot of the paratroopers coming down their smoke trails in that giant red sky into the dark clouds above San Francisco. I thought that was one of the most beautiful shots in the movie. I also thought the scene where Mothra spread her wings was just beautiful with the music. So let's go into the ending. While I also don't understand the hairy elephant, I don't know if we've ever seen the giant hairy elephant monster, but the ending is really interesting because it basically just sets up King Kong versus Godzilla in kind of a nice way. They never show King Kong, and I kind of like that because you're just, at the very end, you're just getting more and more, I thought I heard a snake. You're just getting more and more hyped up. You're like, King Kong, King Kong, King Kong. And then they never quite show them to you. So that same thing that they were doing with the first movie, where they were teasing, here they teased you for the next one, but didn't give you that reward, which I think was actually pretty perfect. And now I'm really excited for the next Godzilla movie. So yeah, I think that's everything. I pretty much covered everything I like about the movie and everything I kind of didn't like, which wasn't much. I think this is a great successor. I will definitely say the cinematography in the first one is better. And I think overall I did like the first one, the 2014 Godzilla, more than this movie, just because it was completely out of the blue and I wasn't expecting anything, and I got some beautiful visuals and great cinematography and way more than I expected. But yeah, can't say I was disappointed. I got exactly what I wanted. Yeah, with that, thank you all for joining me. This has been Walking and Talking, episode 45. I will see you all in tomorrow's video. Thank you for joining me. Peace. Bye.